Everybody has a story to tell, and there was a time when we would share those stories around the kitchen table, laughing, telling jokes, talking about the events of the day, heated debates, tragic loss, living life. The kitchen table is where we could share our lives. So come sit with me and my friends as conversation unfolds across the kitchen table. In this episode, I'd love to introduce you to my sister Emily. We are two peas in a crazy pod. We share a lot of the same interests, from Star Trek to Star Wars, Bob Ross to Paul Hollywood, from music to nature to food to storytelling and everything in between. She is so intelligent, creative, wise, and kind. They say you choose your friends, but you're stuck with your family. But in this case, I won the sibling lottery. Emily is both my sister and my best friend. I'm very proud of her, and I'm excited for you to get to know her as we have a brother-sister chat across the kitchen table.
Do you think Dad listens to these?
I highly doubt it. I don't know if, we're not connected through socials.
Yeah.
And I haven't told him about it.
Oh, okay.
I don't really want to tell him about it.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that one of the first things that made me think that we should do a podcast is all the people at your birthday party who were so surprised or impressed by how close we are.
Yeah, I suppose that's something that not a lot of people can say with their siblings, but...
That's odd to me.
Yeah. Well, I suppose growing up, people can be at odds with each other. I mean, when you're kids, a lot of kids are egotistical. Like, it's all about me, which is, it's part of growing up. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of kids just don't grow out of that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I remember Mom saying about that, I just really wish that when you guys grow up that you can be the best of friends.
Yeah.
And she was saying that at a point whenever I was like 14 and you were 11.
Yeah.
So... those ages are just terrible anyhow.
Uh-huh.
All the hormones raging. You don't know up from down. I think that, we were able to grow through it, and having similar experiences growing up and then some similar mindsets and stuff has helped. I mean, we've had some skiffs here in adulthood as well, but I think that we know that those are just skiffs. I don't know. It is a shame that other people, but I don't know. I can't speak for other people's experiences because I don't know what their lives are like.
Yeah.
There probably are other people who have good sibling relations.
And it's amazing to me how, it's kind of gross, we're talking about the reproductive systems, but how the pairing up of these, one cell pieces of our parents, they came out as us.
Yeah.
But I guess there are combos that wouldn't get along with each other.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I was to ask you a lead-in question, it would be, I suppose I didn't really prep you for this either, because I usually send out questions.
Ah.
Maybe I should look and see what one of the questions is, but then it's not giving you any time to think about it. So my questions that I email out to people is, number 1, what is one of the most defining moments in your life, and how has that shaped your journey?
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, see, they're not easy ones. 2, what is one of the biggest adversities in your life, and how have you overcome it, or are you still struggling with it? And I do always ask this one, what's one of your favorite sayings or messages of hope, and how has that shown in your life? And then I added these later because I thought they'd be good. Number 4 is, what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you? And number 5 is, name 3 of your favorite topics of conversation.
Oh my.
What interests you the most? Because it shouldn't, I think...
Shouldn't be easy.
Well, I think that there are some people... part of this is telling a person's story, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a 60 minutes interview sitting there and...
Barbara Walters.
Yeah.
Asking intrusive questions.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to, poke and prod people, but... when people tell me parts of their story, then it causes curiosity. I want to know more. And I think other people want to, know more about people. But sometimes you don't get to the deeper stuff without some of the other fun things.
Yeah.
And then, there's just some of it that's just fun things. It is just it really should just be, it's not just about somebody's story. It's not about me interviewing somebody. It's about having conversations at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
For instance, so we're watching Ted Lasso together right now, right?
Yeah.
And this is your first time through. This is my 5th or 6th time through. But with the episode just now with the refugees and Sam Obisanya, speaking out against that, we're dealing with all those sort of things right now, too.
Yeah.
And what sucks about people getting into their own camps and digging their heels in is they don't have conversations with people.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to social media posts, it's like you throw out your opinion everywhere, and then what?
Yeah.
Then the other person decides to retaliate.
Yeah.
And they throw their opinion everywhere.
And they're not talking face to face to a person.
Yeah. And they're not having conversation. They're not, instead of like, oh, you're wrong. You're, like, let's say you're a flat earther. You're wrong about this, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. And it's like, well, the other side of that would be to be inquisitive. Again, Ted Lasso thing.
Yeah.
Be curious, not judgmental. Yeah. So to ask a question, well, like, why do you believe that? Or how did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah. I've been doing that some with some of the guys on the Facebook dating. They'll say something that they like or something, and I'll be like, okay, no judgment, but why?
Mm-hmm. Well, like something, what's something specific?
Oh, okay. So there was one guy that I was talking to that, from the get-go, he was telling me that he was polyamorous.
Okay.
So in a relationship with multiple women, and all of them knew, and, would I be open to such a thing? And I don't know. In a way, I think he might just not want to commit. But I think he also was into, like, he wants variety, which is something I can actually understand, because when it comes to food, I like a buffet. I like a little of this and a little of that. And so, it kind of goes back to my butterfly state, I guess, that I flit from one thing to the other.
Butterfly state.
And then, they ask questions like, what do you like to do for fun? Or what games do you like? What music do you like? And I'm like, I have such a long list of all of those things.
I like everything!
Yeah. The shorter list is, what don't I like? And for music, it's usually rap, country, and like screaming heavy metal.
Yeah. Okay, so to be on the other side of that, why don't you like rap?
It's too much like yelling to me.
Yeah.
And I don't like yelling. And part of my love for music is I like to sing along to it. And can't sing to rap.
Yeah. Well, so on the other side of that one, then someone may say, well, I like rap because it doesn't have a melody, and it's just saying the words, and that's something that someone who can't sing, or someone who's self-conscious about their singing, could be like, yeah, I can rap along to that.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. And to be clear, I have a lot of respect for rappers, because I know I can't do it. Rhythm is not one of my strong suits.
Yeah. Okay, why don't you like country?
Yeah, that one is kind of more complicated. Some of it is, like, that was the first genre that I kind of got into, kind of before the divorce. And Dad was into it too, so that was kind of a thing we were starting to share, and then everything fell apart. And
I wondered if there was some of that.
Yeah. But then also, I just, the twang. I mean, if it's instrumental twang, like, I can get into bluegrass or folk music, but when you're singing nasally, pretty much on purpose,
I just don't like that sound.
No, I mean, if it's playing somewhere and I'm in the same area, I can, like, kind of have a peripheral appreciation for it. Yeah. But I wouldn't necessarily choose to listen to it, except for, like, a few exceptions. And then the screamo thing is kind of the same thing. I don't like yelling.
I was going to say, well, now to the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the yelling sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I like Evanescence, which I think is kind of maybe on the fence between rock and heavy metal. Also, they became popular at a time in my life whenever I was into a little bit more morbid mentality.
Your goth phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which wasn't all that goth. I didn't dress goth, not like
other people.
Yeah.
You can say names. I can edit around them.
Right.
I already know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah, yeah.
But
well, and the funny thing is, she doesn't.
That's not her MO anymore.
No, and it totally throws me off, because that was her identity.
Yeah.
I told her once that I liked her because she was in a musical, and she had brown eyeshadow on and very natural look, and I was like, I really like this look on you. Yeah. And she's like, nope.
Not for me.
When this is over, I'm going back to black eyeliner and bright red lipstick or something. And
yeah.
It's like, all right.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned about identity, and some of this ties in, like you said, about the country stuff. I think a lot of times about our likes and dislikes and how we form our identity, and it's like a lot of it is based around from those early influences, like parents or grandparents. I mean, so both you and I are musical people, we both really enjoy theater and movies and TV shows and books and storytelling.
Yes.
And it's funny because sometimes I'll get into conversations with other people who they don't like TV. They don't like movies, or they don't watch anything. Or they're like, no, I don't really watch a whole lot. And to me, that's foreign because I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, with we had music always playing in the house,
Yeah.
whether it was at Grandma and Pap's or our house.
And we were taken to live theater.
Yeah, from a very young age.
Plug for the Mountain Playhouse.
Yeah. So the Mountain Playhouse, for anyone who doesn't know, is a small theater in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania.
Summer stock.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty interesting because that building was moved the whole way across the county in the days before pneumatics.
Right.
Yeah, it's an old grist mill, right?
Yeah.
I think so. And yeah, it's got a really nice charm to it. And Grandma and Pap were season ticket holders, and so we went to see. I remember Oklahoma, I think, was probably the first one I saw.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Janet Dickinson. I had a crush on her at the age of like 4 or 5.
Right.
But she was in that. She was in Camelot.
Yeah.
They really had, and it was professional acting. They were equity members, which is really it's tough to find in Southwest PA because there's a lot of community theaters.
Yeah.
But not necessarily equity.
Right.
And I suppose in more recent years, I don't know if the patronage has kind of just dropped away or it's sad to see those live things go because what I really like, the difference between live things and recorded stuff is the energy in the room while it's happening.
Yeah.
And as an audience member, you're giving a certain amount of energy because the story is being revealed to you at that time.
Yeah.
Even if it's a story it's going to be different every time because of who the actors are in those roles. And then even from show to show of the same cast is going to be different because the energy of the audience is different, which then feeds into the energy of the actors, which is different. I mean, it's this play back and forth between them. I remember seeing one of the still pivotal things I saw there was Of Mice and Men.
Oh, yeah.
With Nick Ruggieri playing George. Mm-hmm. And for anyone that doesn't know, John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men with a tragic ending. So George, has to kill Lenny because the alternative is that the cowhands and everybody else
will lynch him pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be a lot worse. And Lenny is mentally deficient and does had done some bad things, not intentionally.
Right.
He just pets the rabbits too hard.
Yeah.
But that scene at the end, then when Nick is acting like George and the curtain drops, and then the curtain comes back up. Nick having to have put so much into that character that he's still visibly shaking and visibly like crying.
Right.
And that was
yeah.
I still get chills thinking about it.
Yeah, they had a great core of returning actors that I really liked, and that core group kind of morphed over the years. Like it lost one and then took another one in, but then last couple seasons that's been kind of hard to find. I'm not really sure what happens there, that people leave and don't come back. Although when after COVID, the first season that they had at the Pascagoula Center, they did bring back Janet Dickinson and Susan Jacks, Jan Harris. I mean, he
there's your buddy.
Yeah, he's been in the Mountain Playhouse productions pretty much consistently, I think, but he's been more so in the director role than anything, and he did an acting role for that one season. Oh my gosh, probably my favorite one there. I know there are a couple, but this one just, it really challenged my mind. It was a 2-man play, and each man played all of the characters in this kind of, I guess, small town called Greater Tuna. And there were hardly any props. Well, actually, I think no props and hardly any scenery or stage. It was all just imagining. And so at one point, Jan Harris, he's playing a woman. He does have the whole bodysuit or whatever to give him curves and things. But he has a bowl and a spoon, except he doesn't have a bowl and a spoon.
Oh.
And he's talking to somebody, and he's just, and it just, you fell for it.
Yeah. Yeah. The suspension of belief.
Yeah. It was really awesome. But yeah, I think about that, how Grandma and Pap kind of got us on that journey. And then it's kind of funny that some of the movies I would like to watch whenever I was visiting Grandma and Pap were Rodgers and Hammerstein musical.
Yeah.
And as an adult, when I go back and watch Oklahoma, I'm like, why did this not scare the crap out of me?
Oh.
It's got some pretty dark themes, in
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, like when they go to Judd's
Right.
hut or whatever it is. There's the rope there.
Yeah.
He's trying to convince him to hang himself. You're like, what?
Right.
I don't know if I recognized that as much when I was a kid.
Right.
I think it's cool too that having differing music backgrounds from people, because like Grandma and Pap were definitely some of those oldies. You know, well, so Doris Day. Who's one of your favorites. That definitely came from Grandma and Pap. And they had those wacky favorites tapes.
And Mersey Dotes.
Mersey Dotes. And Nat King Cole and some of the Rat Pack. You know, Nat King Cole, I think, more so makes me think of those guys.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I mean, like, they always listened to, what was it, Sunny 101.7 or something out of Johnstown.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
The oldies. Yeah, see, I can remember stuff like that from almost 40 years ago.
Memory
30-some
unlocked.
years ago. Ask me what I did yesterday? Not a clue.
Not a clue,
I don't
yeah.
know. Early onset dementia.
Oh, man.
That's okay. I'm aging backwards like Benjamin Button. But yeah, I remember them, you know, listening to that in the car a lot. You know, Pap had the Purple Dynasty, and he always had that air conditioner cranked in there. I remember, so one of those core memories from a kid is we'd be playing out in the front yard of our house, and Grandma and Pap would pull up in that car,
Yeah.
and they came from Johnstown or something, and they'd roll down the window, and the cool air would just come flowing out, and you're like, oh, it's nice in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that car. And I also think of lollipops with that car because we'd go to the bank and they'd give me a lollipop.
Yeah.
Little dum-dums.
Yeah, we were little dum-dums, weren't we?
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, I mean, like the music from them, and then, of course, like us growing up in church, so you know, knowing the hymns and anthems and more classical stuff that way. And then Mom and her Anne Murray or Roger Whittaker.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, though on the flip side, you know, she was very much into the Carpenters and ABBA.
ABBA, yeah.
So she had some weird and eclectic stuff.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was strange that she grew up, you know, mostly in the 70s and really wasn't into the 70s style music.
She was at the time. I guess she just didn't really carry that with her.
Didn't carry over. But both her and Dad really loved John Denver.
Yeah.
And I always remember them talking a lot about that one show they saw where he was on that center stage that revolved and he could play all of the instruments.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that. I wish I could have seen him in concert, but the Fink went and died.
Well, musicians should just stop flying. That seems to be a lot of them.
Sure. Well, and I didn't know, but until we watched a special on him, he was flying the plane. It was a private plane.
Yeah, I think it was one of those ultralights or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so then Dad was more of definitely Elvis, big Elvis Presley fan, a little bit like Buddy Holly. But I feel like Dad was the one that actually turned me on to Queen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there was Queen and ELO. I think he talked a lot about Electric Light Orchestra, and yeah, the country stuff. But he was definitely the old school. I want to say like George Strait era, and what was the one guy's name? He was in some Hallmark movies.
Oh, gracious.
Hallmark Christmas movies that we had only because he was in it. Travis Tritt.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he and I got into Leanne Rhymes together.
Oh, okay.
And there are one or two songs of hers that I'll still listen to.
Yeah.
Not often, but sometimes. He would say that, cause, yeah, the first time he told me about her, he's like, I heard this girl on the radio today, and I just thought, that's going to be M someday. I'm just like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Pressure started early.
So it is interesting. Like our parents, because like Dad would sing in church. He never sang to us necessarily, but he would sometimes sing or joke around the house. Mom sang a lot to us.
Yeah.
Grandma did. And so we had some musical experience that way. Like, yeah, can you remember the first time you just kind of sang something?
No, but I was
Digging way back.
I was usually out in the yard by myself, or at least thinking I was by myself. Even then, if I was singing, I didn't want to do it around people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a tricky question. Because then, having watched Emily Brandt, This Is Your Life back in April, there were so many times that somebody put me in front of the camera and was like, okay, sing the song you learned in school today, or the song you learned in Bible school.
Dance, monkey dance.
Yeah. So there's a video of me. Somebody's holding me and somebody's holding Sam whenever he was a baby. And I was singing Jesus Loves the Little Children, I think. Yeah. At some point, I mean, he was a baby, but
Yeah.
he kind of started fussing a little, and you could see me give him kind of the side eye, like, I am performing. Why are you not
Yeah.
paying attention?
Well, to clarify too, the Emily Brandt, This Is Your Life.
Oh, yes.
Because so dad's got it. Well, it's funny because you say about your wide interest of things. That's definitely dad.
Yeah.
And one of his interests was kind of being the family videographer because he had that old school VHS RCA big camcorder
thing,
thing, and he
yeah.
put it over his shoulder. And he took a lot of home videos, which that's another one that I think a lot of,
Yeah.
at least our generation, because nowadays everyone has their cell phone and they're
Right.
taking these 2-second clips.
Yeah.
But at least for him, he would document like the whole thing. So you'd get some of those. There was a lot of boring footage as well, but you'd get a lot of those really good moments. And so whenever both you and I turned 10 years old, he
Yes.
compiled all of those onto a tape. And I, having done my editing now with like Adobe or whatever other computer program, I think, man, that must have taken him a while.
Forever. Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you're scrubbing through on a VHS, he would have had to sit there with the VCR and, just kind of, I don't know if he was fast forwarding and then stopping and then making a note of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he would have had to go back then to, as far as the compilation, and have 2 separate VCR decks. And he'd have to play one from one of them and hit record on the other.
Yeah.
And then when he wanted the next clip, he'd have to pause this one, pop out, put in a new tape, or fast forward to the
Very
next
involved.
one. Very tedious, very
Yes.
much his,
Yeah.
his mechanical mind. He can launch into something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I probably appreciate from him the most, was that those compilation videos.
Yeah.
Of course, now there are a bunch of memories that I'm like, am I really remembering it, or am I remembering watching it?
Yeah, it's nice having those kind of memories.
Yeah, those were the best years of my life.
What, up until you entered school?
Up until middle school.
Middle school, yeah.
I didn't really mind elementary school, and I always got good grades. I got my first C in 6th grade, and I was devastated.
What class was that?
I can't remember.
Oh. You just remember that you got the C.
Yeah. I also got a late slip.
Oh.
That was kind of a douchey thing that my classmates did to me. But because that was the year that they were overdoing the school and renovating and
construction.
things. So the shop class was in a trailer.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
right.
you had to go from the high school down through the elementary, out that door, and then around to the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they knew I didn't want to run. So, and then we had 2 minutes to get from class to class, which I think they probably should have switched that up that year. But the whole class just took off, and they looked back at me and laughed. So that's kind of what made me think that I knew. And yeah, I stubborn that I am, and not wanting to bow to their whims, I was like, I'm not going to run. I'm going to walk.
A walk.
Of course, then I get there, and Mr. Seckler's like, you have to go get a late slip.
Well, then I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Well, but at the time, I was still in, like, kind of elementary school mindset of going to the principal is just the worst possible thing you could be tasked with.
Yeah.
And then also, fearing kind of dad's anger from when I would do something wrong at home.
Yeah.
So getting in trouble was, like, the scariest thing in the world to me. So that may have been my first panic attack.
Well,
I went up to the old school office there, and Kathy Flegel, I think, was the one who was the secretary at the time, and she's like, "Oh, what's wrong? It's not that big of a deal, and you're not, you don't need to cry." I don't think she really knew what to do with my reaction. Like, it was, and then years later, in going from middle school to high school, I would get late slips sometime, and I'm just like, me, I don't care.
yeah.
And I've thought before about, I know at the time I felt like Mr. Seckler should have known that I wasn't being delinquent, I guess.
Yeah.
But also then after that time, I thought he probably did me a favor by sending me to get the late slip, because if he hadn't, that would have been showing preferential treatment. And I was already kind of a teacher's pet. So, and I feel like kind of around 6th grade is when just everything went wrong. Everything was going wrong at home. Everything was going wrong in school. I wasn't getting good grades anymore. I kind of was discovering that I wasn't good at school. That I was just intelligent enough to have made my way through elementary school.
Yeah.
But then whenever you hit 6th grade and you actually have to try and put effort into into learning these things and taking tests, it's like, oh no.
Nah, I don't want to put the effort into that.
Right. This is not my speed.
Yeah.
And I've thought about talking about my experiences in middle school, and of course there again I don't want to name any names, and
Yeah, you don't
I
have to.
don't hold anything against them.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that it happened, and the after effects of what I went through sucks also. But they were dumb kids too.
Yeah.
And while they knew that I didn't like what they were doing, I don't think they knew that what they were doing was going to have such consequence for me. And many of the ringleaders either did apologize or had very apologetic behavior towards me in later years of school. So
Yeah.
it's also harder having grown up in such a small school, because I saw probably the same 15 kids every day, and they kind of made it a game of what can we do to humiliate her today and get a laugh out of it. It's kind of hard to tell which was harder on me, school or home, or if maybe just together. So yeah, some of what I was thinking about was so I'm going through kind of a reawakening currently, and some of that was because I found this TED Talk video about the effects of childhood trauma. And this doctor, I forget her name.
That's okay. We'll put the link in the show notes.
Okay, good. But the book is called The Deepest Well, and it talks about what's called ACEs, or adverse childhood events. Adverse childhood events. And it has a list of what those are considered. And one of them is growing up with a parent who has mental illness. That simple. I mean, you don't really think about it, but, or at least I never thought about it, but yeah, growing up with that, with a parent who, well, for one thing, if you're afraid that they're gonna off themselves,
Yeah.
that's terrifying to a child. And then, if you think about the psychology of the childhood psychology of how developmental that is and how that really does affect the rest of your life. Yeah, there was that, and then there was any form of abuse, which emotional abuse, like we were talking about, is abuse. This book, I don't know, first of all, hearing somebody like a specialist talk about this type of thing and saying, yes, this will affect you, is just, it's liberating.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm not doing this to myself. Didn't imagine things. This is real. Now I have to get to the part yet in the book where she might talk about reversing some of that, but
The work that you can do.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but learning that, and then, there was kind of a coming together of different things that led to my awakening period here, my renaissance.
Yeah. Renaissance.
Yeah. But learning that and learning that, it could very well be overcome.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of hope, and then something else that came into play was my student loans are coming due. Yeah. And I knew something needed to change in order to deal with that, and Mom retired. I knew something needed to change for me to deal with that.
Yeah.
And one of the other things is that, and this is kind of roped in with Mom retiring, is that I know she's getting older. And, she's the person that I'm closest to in the world. She's probably the one I trust the most. And I think also coming out of, we kind of became codependent, Mom and I. And my whole life, probably my greatest fear was and still probably is losing her. For a good portion of my life there, I've called it kind of passive suicide. I wasn't actively dying, but I wasn't actively living. And I was kind of just putting in my time, and with some of these little like neural pathways that were waking up, I came to a place where I was like, I need someone to guide me into getting away from that thought mentality. And part of that is going to have to be separating myself from her. And not necessarily, that sounds kind of drastic.
Not cutting all ties.
Right.
But working on the codependency thing.
Yeah, and the boundaries and building a very good sense of self. So that, and I was so happy to find such a good therapist and so sad to see her go.
Yeah.
But one of the things she told me whenever I talked about that with her was, she's like, well, she'll live on in you. So, she talked about how even with like grandma, like we know them, they're in our head. So we know even if we can't have an actual discussion with them, we kind of can.
Yeah, they're never fully gone.
Yeah. It's a very Simba Mufasa moment. I think that's kind of the end of that tale. I'm a work in progress.
Thanks, Ted.
Yeah. But I guess it's nice that I'm feeling open again to living and to.
You said
I'm open to possibility.
Oh, yeah.
I'm exploring expectancy versus expectation.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of X's.
Yeah. Do you know where I actually got that one from? Curtis.
Oh, God. Of course you did. Actually, now that you say that, yeah.
That sounds like something he would say, yeah.
Well, and I think I remember him talking about that before.
So with that, isn't it funny, though, that you can get nuggets of wisdom from anybody?
From a drunk?
Yeah. Even if they don't always, follow their own advice or don't.
Yeah.
It's just going to be what it's going to be.
Right. Fuck it, we're going live.
That's right. Guadalupe. Another Curtis one.
And neat.
Neat.
Yeah, neat was one of his, too.
He was one of the ones that did neat.
Yeah.
Talk about the childhood trauma stuff. I think that ACE thing was when you first shared that. Well, there was also the Unmasking Narcissism book.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Understanding Dad a little bit more and the experiences growing up, because I know that he would always say that you were always hiding behind mom's dress, sort of thing. Like, you're not allowing me to discipline her. And it's like, well, what do you mean by discipline?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he had, and it comes from his own upbringing, this distorted view of discipline.
Yeah.
You said about the C grade. I remember, I think I was going into first grade, or maybe I got my first report card or something, sometime around there, and it was right out front of the garage door there at Grandma and Pap's, but he said if I ever got a failing grade on a report card, that he'd spank me. Yeah. So, and of course, that expectation was always there. And yeah, I agree with you that the principal's office was viewed as this terrible place to be called to, anytime they called your name. And of course, kids in school, they say, hey, can Elwood Brandt report to the office? And they go, ooh.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, remember whenever someone in the kitchen would drop a dish or something?
Yeah.
And everyone would start hooting and hollering and clapping and cheering. It's like, oh my God, kids are so dumb.
Yeah.
I suppose they're dumb everywhere, but I think, and you touched on it a little bit, and I've talked about this in other podcasts, it is different growing up in a small town. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot that, both of us really appreciate from it. And there's things that a lot of my friends didn't get to experience because they didn't grow up in a small town. But then it can be difficult whenever you're not like other people in a small town.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form, to try to fit in and find your allies. And then, since it's such a, Shanksville, even compared to all the other places around it, is even smaller.
Yeah.
I graduated with 27. You had a bigger class, didn't you? Like 33 or something?
36, I think.
Ooh, 36. See, that's a big class.
Well, I know one of them was kind of homeschooled, so I didn't really know who she was, but...
But yeah, statistically speaking, if you have a class of 30 and, let's say 1/3 of those people are similar. So you only have 3 people that are similar. Yeah. That's your tribe. And that's why, I know for me, I was always about, especially in those high school years, but, in middle school when things were a little more rough for everybody. They weren't as rough for me as they were for you, obviously. But, I found solace in playing for choir or for the chorus, playing for the high school chorus. I made friends with older people. Yeah. In band, because our band was all together. I was making friends with older people. And then once I got to high school, it was about the drama club, and it was about the and you had a lot of solace from church camp.
Yes.
And friends there.
Yes.
You had to find people outside of where you were from because to be your true self, you were made fun of.
Yep.
You were left behind. You were the intentional, hey, let's play a game to see how we can humiliate her sort of
Let's
thing.
hide her new fancy pen and see how long it takes her to find it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a favorite of theirs.
It's
of course,
relentless.
God bless Mr. Kimmel, because one time he did pull me aside and he's like, maybe you should just get a bag of normal Bic pens, and then they might not feel so enticed to steal your stuff.
Which I could see that, but that goes back to one of our earlier conversations today about acquiescing, about
Well, yeah.
conforming, about changing yourself so that you fit into someone else's mold, someone else's ideal. And that's
true.
bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm not editing that one out of this podcast.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, Mom, if you heard me say bullshit, but it is bullshit. I'm calling it out.
Yeah.
When we talk about bullying people, when we talk about oppressing and putting other people down because they're different, then it's like, no, you need to be like everybody else. Mm-hmm. What kind of world would this be if we were all just carbon copies of each other?
Right.
We wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have any art. We wouldn't have music. We wouldn't have scientific discoveries. We wouldn't have all the cool technology that we love so much.
Yeah.
If everyone was exactly the same, we need that variety of things.
Yeah.
And that should be supported. It's the bigots who look at something that they don't understand and immediately go to let's attack it or let's make fun of it.
Yeah.
So Kimmel's response should have been
Well,
to take care of those issues, to take care of those kids.
Yeah.
Those kids, and it's again like when you talk about discipline and about working with children that have issues and things, it's not about spanking them. It's not about sending them to the office and detention and things like that. It's again conversation.
Yes.
Why are you acting this way? A lot of your classmates might have been abused at home.
Well, yeah.
And they were bringing
I know
that back and
for,
putting it out onto somebody else.
Yeah. I know for at least 2 of them that they did not have good home situations. So that's another reason I can't hold it against them.
Yeah. Well, it's good to forgive them, but you don't have to condone.
Oh, no.
It's the same thing with Dad and his stuff. We can sit here and say that, he acted the way he did because of his mental illness. He acted the way he did because of his upbringing and a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
But that doesn't excuse and negate the behavior.
Yeah. Well, actually, so I was a camp counselor for Midler Camp one year, and Petey was the director. And there were some girls that were picking on some other girls, and I can't remember the circumstances, but I got angry. And so I wrote out this kind of speech. It was kind of a confessional, and it was just as cathartic for me as anything. But I told them about how kids in school kind of taught me that I was something to be disgusted by. Like, there would be this, sometimes, if people would brush up against me, they'd, like, flinch away and kind of like, oh, gross. And it would even be like if I sat in a chair and then somebody sat there again, people around them would be like, oh, she sat in that chair. And then they'd jump up as if it was disease or something. And so, I kind of learned to really withdraw and hold myself, like, and then what I said to these kids was like, to this day, I carry myself a certain way, I act a certain way, so as not to bring that kind of attention to me, even though that attention is gone. So, I basically was saying to these kids, I'm like, this is what was done with me. Don't do that to someone new.
Yeah.
And I was amazed that at the end of my little speech, Jay was there too, and he said, I have a question. Do you mind if we would give you a hug? And they all came racing towards me, and I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I see it happening now, I tend to try to intervene somehow.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing.
No. General consensus, kids can suck.
Yeah.
It's whether or not they grow out of it that I think makes the difference.
Well, I'd be curious, and for people listening, I hope you reach out and let us know if your experience was the same or not, because sometimes I talk to people and they did not have the same experience in school with bullying. Now, did that mean that they were towards the middle of the pack, or in a larger school, maybe it is easier to find your niche and just kind of hide yourself with whatever your niches are.
Yeah.
Or maybe some of you people listening out there are actually emotionally stable, unlike the two of us.
Right.
Yeah, because I've had conversations about that, what people's home life is like and what their relationship is with their mom and their dad and what it was like growing up for them. And yeah, there's some varying.
I just remembered one of the girls so she left after 6th grade. I don't remember where she went, but she probably did the worst number on me because she would sometimes be my friend, but then whenever the group was showing her favor, she sided with them, and she, like, because she had been my friend, she knew where to strike. That definitely grew my trust issues.
Yeah. Well, and if, because I think that there's bullying everywhere, but I wonder too if some people it doesn't affect them as much, or if they don't see it as bullying or whatever because they have a better home life as well. I mean, if you are emotionally, so you're becoming emotionally balanced or more emotionally balanced.
Yeah.
And being able to look back on it and say, you know, I forgive these kids. They were just kids, but in the heat of the moment, you didn't have the mental tools to see that and to deal with it because of home life.
Yeah.
I mean, you equated the principal's office to getting in trouble with Dad. You know, you equated this and that with, you know, how he would react to things. And so you didn't have a strong basis to stand up against those kids and say, well, you know, I don't really care what you think about me.
Right.
Because you really did. Because you really cared what Dad said and how he would, more so how he would react.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we talked about music and, yeah, after Flight 93. So I had started taking voice lessons with Mrs. Ray, I think in 7th grade. And after Flight 93 went down, we had a Veterans Day Assembly every year. But this year at that Veterans Assembly, I sang God Bless the USA. And I could see the, like, shock on my classmates' faces. They're like, oh my God. And that was the turning point. And this is something I discovered semi-recently, and I was just talking about it with my therapist, and it just kind of came out, and then I was like, oh, I that's the first time I kind of realized that. I made singing my identity.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing that they didn't attack. That was the thing that they actually kind of admired.
Yeah.
And by the end of my high school career, as they say sometimes, I felt hollow. I felt like I didn't exist because the only thing about me that I did exude was my singing, and I was proud of that, and I think that also then, you know, kind of hurt things as far as continuing singing afterwards. But I mean, to this day, if I see a teacher from school, they'll say, "Are you singing anywhere?"
Yep.
No, I'm not.
That was their identifier.
Yeah, and I mean. So now that I've realized that I kind of did that to myself, I mean, there's room to grow there and to deal with that.
Well, it's not really that you did that to yourself. That was the option you found to find the love that you were looking for, or to find the safety that you were looking for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and my senior year, I sang the Star Spangled Banner for basketball games. Usually home basketball games, though I did sing at UPJ whenever the basketball team, I forget what the tournament was called. And at the end of that tournament, they gave me an honorary medal for being I had my own little fan club. It was the whole basketball team.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's tough, too. So, again, this is why we share our stories, is people don't know all of the stuff that's happening behind them. You know, we talked a little bit about the bullies themselves could have been bullied. But that's why we need to talk. And it can be rather scary to say your story. You know, I've been very candid on this podcast thus far about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's not in the intention of trying to cast shade on somebody else or call somebody else out. It's just, this is what's happened to me throughout my life, and this is what causes me to think or act the way I do. And there are these other things that I struggle with. That's why one of those questions is about some sort of adversity.
Yeah.
You know, when I had Trent on here, he was trying to chew that because he's like, well, what, you know, I can't really say, it sounds bad, but I don't really have a huge adversity. Like, my life has gone pretty well. And maybe it has, and that's great. But adversity doesn't necessarily mean that you lost your house or lost a loved one or lost whatever. It could mean that you yourself are dealing with your own mental issues, whatever that means, or it could be a certain person. I think everybody can think about, Mom would always say that story about her roommate in college that she wanted to come home. She called grandma or something. She was always mean to her. Do you remember her telling that story?
No.
'Cause I think it was when she first moved in or something, her first roommate. But grandma would always tell her to kill her with kindness.
Oh, yeah, that part I remember.
That story,
yeah.
So at that point, that was adversity.
Yeah.
And it's easy for us to negate other people's adversity and say, well, I mean, it was just a roommate. Like, just find another roommate or just get over it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really think about the psychological impact of day after day after day, this is where you live.
Yes.
Think about the psychological impact of you left home, you left Somerset County for the first time. This is a new place. You don't know anybody there. You don't know any of the situations or anything. You don't know where things are.
Yeah.
And the person, like, so, your dorm room is where you kind of find your home away from home, and you want that to be that thing. And the person there is not, is not giving you a good experience with that, then you dread about going to your safe place. So then you no longer have a safe place.
Yeah, I would throw up.
I mean, and even for us and stuff we talk about, it's easy to look back on things and just say, oh yeah, this is what it was. And yeah, the pain and hurt isn't there as much. But if you really think about it, when there's definitely people who've had worse things. I've heard stories from friends about like bottles being thrown at their heads and drunken parents and heaven forbid any sort of sexual abuse as well. But it still sticks in me to this day. The Super Bowl, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I see it obviously sticks in yours too. So yeah, let's go for that one.
Oh dear.
And you would think, that scenario doesn't seem like it's as big of a deal, but it was really a big deal for me at that age because of the uncertainties that you felt with Dad.
Yeah.
And this really portrayed the uncertainty to the highest degree because of the calmness that he had throughout the whole thing. So how old were we? Like, I might have been like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
we weren't that old.
I actually did not remember it until you reminded me of it a couple years ago.
Hey, there you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Well, so, I mean, the thing that stuck with me was that, so we're watching the Super Bowl. For some reason, it was just the three of us. I don't know where Mom was.
I thought Mom was there.
Oh, I didn't think she was there. I thought it was just the three of us. Maybe she was in the house, but not in the living room.
Oh,
But
I don't know.
I was picking on you,
Yeah.
like I did.
Like you do.
And I don't know if I, pushed you a little too much or a little too hard. I don't know if you had said anything necessarily. And the other thing, too, is I don't think he really, maybe he did. Because I know, that's the thing, too, is I know that I was a willful child, and I didn't always listen the first time. All that kind of stuff, fine. But I don't remember him ever really saying anything that led up to it. He just said, hey, Elwood, come over here. Because he was sitting in the one chair. We were, on the floor. And he was really calm through this whole thing. So he said, Elwood, come over here. And I was like, oh, okay. Just thinking, he was just calling me over. So I came over to him and stood in front of him. And he said, drop your pants. And I was like, oh, okay, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then he bent me over his knee and smacked me. I don't know how many times, but a few times. But it was the whole buildup of, going over there, not realizing what was going to happen, and then it being completely unexpected to what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And, I mean, you and I also talk a lot about the times with whenever we were playing that pushing the feet game and I accidentally kicked you in the crotch. All he knew and heard was that you had gotten hurt.
Yeah.
I suppose his first assumption was that it was me, which is probably a fair assumption, but he didn't know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
So I was getting into trouble for something that, in my mind, was an accident.
It was.
In your mind, was an accident.
Yes.
Because I remember that one, that he came in and, it was all like a blur, so I don't remember exactly how it happened, but it felt like he picked me up, by my shirt off of the couch and threw me over into one of the recliner chairs and then pinned me up in the chair and just started yelling some sort of bloody murder. I don't even remember what he said. Because with him, it wasn't, I don't think it was specific instances of things or it wasn't specific actions and it wasn't specific words. It was more so the emotional environment that was created, that anxiety of not knowing what was going to happen, sort of thing. It could go from 0 to 60 in a second.
When's he going to be set off?
Yeah.
It is.
And for anybody out there who doesn't know my dad, I, again, am not trying to paint him out to be a demon. These are things that have happened.
Yes.
But for those of you that do know him, who maybe have never seen, when he gets angry and yells, blood vessels start popping out, his eyes get real intense. he starts showing his
teeth.
canines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a rather terrifying. It can be a terrifying sight for an adult, I think. As well.
Yeah.
Not just a child.
Well, you freaked Mike out whenever you channeled him at the
when we were hanging out there. Yeah. So anyhow.
Yeah.
There's some darkness for you today.
Right.
It's funny because like when Katya was on and we were doing our podcast, we talked a lot about parenting and some of those things. And, I hope that there's a lot of people that really think about the impact that they have on their children in how they, in how they behave, in how they respond to things, not react to things.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have different camps on what is good discipline. I mean, there would be some people that say spanking is not a bad thing. And some people say it is a bad thing. Some people may say time out is a bad thing. Some other people may not. There's definitely a lot of books out there and a lot of psychology behind it. And I think the best thing is for a parent to learn about those things. But more importantly is to respond and not react.
Yeah.
Because discipline and reaction or response is more so a measured. You cannot. This behavior is not good behavior, and if you do said behavior, this is the outcome of it.
Yeah.
It is not a judgment on you as a person. It is on what you did as an act.
Yeah.
We and this is a shame because we still do it in our society though, is that we classify people as criminals. No, you went to prison because you broke the law, not because you're a bad person or because any of that. But then we don't allow them the forgiveness of if they paid their debt to society, then they're oh, were you a convicted felon? That stuff gets to carry around with you forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a whole other topic. Don't want to dive into the penal system of the United States and how prisons are businesses, but whatever.
It's like Norrington says to Jack Sparrow about, he's one good deed does not erase a lifetime of bad ones.
But a bad one is enough to condemn him for a lifetime.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
That's right. I don't know where I was going with all of that. It's a lot to unpack and go back into.
Talking about Dad again, he's another one I can't really hold it against him because, I just prefer to think of, sometimes initially my emotional response doesn't let me think this, but I prefer to think that people are human and there's some kind of reasoning behind their reaction. Not that it's justified, just that you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah, well, and that's why I would say I would always cut him a lot of grace with his... Because, having some of those deep conversations with him, and, growing up, your relationship with him was completely different than mine.
Yes.
Like, we seemed to bond more. But we would have some of the deeper conversations about stuff, so I know how much of a damaged little child he is in his brain. And, it always goes back to that story of him getting beat for not... bringing home the saxophone that one day.
Yeah.
And I very distinctly remember him saying that he got beat so much on the backside that he rolled over to the front side. Well, for a guy to roll over on the front side and take it on the front side, the backside's got to be getting raw. But, it's one of those, even does the punishment equal the crime? He forgot his saxophone, and so... Bob launched into that. I was like, really? Was that really appropriate?
Right.
And I think Dad did temper it. I don't think he was ever super extreme with us like that. But, he was doing what he could with what he knew.
Yeah.
And now he's out in his RV scooting around the country.
Yeah.
What a
Growing
crazy
a ponytail.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm his inspiration.
Yeah, you are.
When he texted me that picture, I was like, hey, nice ponytail. He actually looks pretty good with it. Yeah, I said, am I your inspiration? He said, yeah.
Could do without the scruff on his face.
Yeah, but that scruff looks better than that cheesy mustache that he sometimes tries to do.
I guess,
and it's the same thing with me. I just can't I can't grow it. I can't pull it off. It's a shame. I said to Matthew the last time I saw him, I said that I'm jealous that he can grow that, that full fox beard.
Yeah.
Because I can't. It's the same color. It's the same, kind of consistency, but it grows in like these patches. I look like the thorax or Lorax or whatever, right? Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
What is it? Lorax.
Lorax.
Yeah, thorax is a part of an insect, right?
Yeah.
Word salad.
Yes.
Well, so let's talk about creative endeavors, since we're both just creative people.
Yeah.
Let's make it lighthearted again, because I think, it's I could like we can just both sit there and just think all day and just have ideas, and it can be tough to launch into them. So what are you currently musing?
Well, I'd like to get back into doing more drawing again. I spoke to I'll call him a friend. I spoke to a friend recently about, he's a video game developer, and so he was asking me if I do any world building. I don't remember how we got to that question, but yeah, I do kind of build worlds in my head, and he asked if I would be able to draw a map of it, and I do have a map of it, and it has like geographical features and things. And then he asked if I would be able to draw like scenery from each place, like that would have the feel of what that place is like. And I was like, well, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I haven't tried.
Yeah.
But I like that you asked it, and now I kind of want to figure that out. So
yeah.
I do kind of want to get back into drawing some. I've done drawing classes. There was some drawing instruction from high school art, but then I did take a drawing class in college too. And
when you went for theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, you learned a lot with that. So I'm going to put that in the show notes too, as the picture of the my fireplace.
Fireplace, yeah.
Yeah. That was, so here's something else for people that don't know. Em likes to come out and visit, and we like to get into artistic adventures together.
Yeah.
There's been several years of tie-dyeing shirts. We like to try new food recipes.
Cheese-filled cream puffs.
Oh, yeah. That was the last one. Well, I immediately go to that garlic soup.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one, too.
So, like, when I was getting the Food Network magazine, we went through and we're like, oh, this recipe sounds good. This one, so let's try that. And it was like, that sounds interesting, but it could also be really disgusting because it's called garlic soup. And as much as I love garlic as part of a dish, I'm not going to just sit there and eat a clove for fun.
Right.
But that was amazing soup.
That was
really good. And then we painted the dining room chairs.
Yes.
So I got this dining room table off of my FedEx boss. Beautiful wood, just a beautiful table and chairs, but it had sat in the basement of his house where he has his woodworking shop. So the chairs were like a cream sort of color originally.
Yeah.
And we tried.
Stain.
We tried to get all of the stains and all of the dust and dirt out of it.
Yeah.
And shy of reupholstering it, that wasn't going to happen. So the idea was, because I live in a house that's over 100 years old, and I'm kind of going with that, old patinaed sort of look with a lot of it, because you can get away with it. And so with the chairs, we dyed them red, and I think it covers it pretty well. They look like they're old classic chairs that have been kept.
Yes.
But things just fade over time.
Right.
So I think it plays pretty well.
Well, and with the consistency of the fabric and actually kind of some of the staining, and then with the dye on top of that, from certain angles, it kind of looks like it's velvet.
Ah, yeah,
Like an old velvet.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that bugs me with that set is those chairs are so low.
Yes, they are.
I don't get it.
And then they sink a little whenever you sit on.
And, even for taller people, you sit down in the chair and you're still, like, reaching up here to... I'm like, why are these made for that? But, yeah, the crowning achievement, then, is that... is the built-in bookshelf with the
faux fireplace.
The faux fireplace.
Yeah.
So I'll put a picture in there. Maybe I could put a few pictures, but that was I did the plaster casts of fake brick, fake stone, and then put that all up around the fake fireplace, and then we did several different layers of paint and highlights and lowlights, and I would challenge anybody to, when they first look at it, to say that it's not stone. And honestly, I think that the Flex Seal rubber spray over top of it gives it that kind of glisten, too. That helps. I mean, I did that mostly just to protect it, because it's plaster. Yeah. But that's beautiful.
Yeah. Looks like river rock.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So if I ever sell this place, I'm taking the fireplace.
You're taking a fireplace.
I'm gonna dismantle it and take it to my next house.
Yeah. Well, and I got a lot of that know-how from scene painting class and one of my theater classes, and I had a lot of fun with that, and wish I could kind of pick that up again. But so the paints that they used, while they were acrylic, they had like an acrylic colorless base, and then the pigments were all powder pigments.
Oh, okay.
They would mix up the paints, but then you had to take it even further, because you would mix a color maybe, and then you'd add enough water, he would say, to make it the consistency of cream. And this was funny because he would harp on that a lot. He'd be like, "Is that cream? That's more milk. You need cream."
Was this Malcolm?
Yes. Malcolm Calorie.
Tell your Muppet story.
I also took a class in puppetry. And going into it, I'm like, I have no idea what this is going to include. But one of the kind of puppets we learned to make was the Muppet-style puppet, basically, that is taking foam or like the upholstery foam type thing. And regular glue does not work with that. You had to use adhesive glue. So you would spray it on, to do your seam, you would spray it on one side and spray it on the other side. You'd let it sit for like 20 seconds and then fuse it together. And like our final exam, so to speak, was putting on a 2-minute puppet show. And I decided I was going to make a Muppet that looked exactly like Malcolm.
Teacher's pet.
Yeah. Well, he's a funny guy. And
yeah, he already looks like a Muppet.
Yeah, he does. Sorry, Malcolm. But I had a lot of fun with that. And then, when you first make the puppet, it's like green foam. It doesn't really have features or anything. So you put felt over it, and then I had gray yarn for his hair and his mustache, and gave him glasses and put him in a plaid shirt.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to rehearse our puppet show. I did not. This is going back to my roots of not liking to study.
Yeah.
At first, whenever I was told we had to do this, I didn't really know what I was going to come up with. But then, because I watched so many cartoons as a kid, like not even like kind of the cartoons they have today, stuff like Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes, and then, well, of course, Sesame Street. And then kind of my experiences with farces and things. Like I instinctively went to a physical comedy.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize I was doing it.
Uh-huh.
And then after the show was over, Malcolm actually said, he's like, now I want you all to notice that there was hardly any talking in that. And that's what's best for a puppet show.
Yeah.
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 But so my little show or skit was about, for scene painting class, you had muslin fabric that you would put on a wooden frame. You would cover it with a mixture of glue and water. That kind of stretched it. And there always seemed to be a shortage of the muslin. But it was really just a shortage of muslin that had already been cut.
Oh.
Because there was kind of this running joke that people would fight over the last piece of muslin, or what they thought was the last piece. And Malcolm would be like, there's a whole box of it. There are boxes of it over in the corner there. And so my whole puppet show was of these two little, I made bird puppets because I like birds.
Yeah.
One had the last piece of muslin, and I can't remember quite the setup of it, but yeah, this whole show is just them fighting over this piece of muslin, and then Malcolm walking through like calm as can be, just like, oh yeah, this is typical. And
Yeah.
at one point, one of the birds is running after the other bird with a pair of scissors in their hand, and Malcolm says, "Stop." He takes the scissors away and he says, "Carry on." And then at the end, the two birds tear the muslin in half, and they're both upset about it. And Malcolm comes in with a box of muslin and just drops it.
See, maybe your true calling is to be a comedy writer.
Maybe.
Because you don't want to perform it, but you got the ideas.
Yeah.
And you can go to those differing layers of comedy.
Yeah. Well, I do love a good farce.
Yeah. Yep.
My Lucky Stiff is one of my favorite musicals because it's a musical and it's a farce.
Yeah. Well, and then one of my favorite comedic moments, farcical, is, I don't know if it's yours as well, but Mountain Playhouse, right? David Garwood with the...
Oh, yes.
Was that a fire extinguisher or a seltzer bottle or something?
I think a seltzer bottle, maybe.
Because he was playing an old man who was like demented or something, so they'd always just kind of push him off to the side.
Whee!
Yeah, so that was first. There was that. Yeah, when they pushed me, whee, in his face, his facial expressions. But the one scene where they would keep pushing him back, and the scene's happening in front of him, like the two people are talking.
Yeah.
And he would just slowly. He has this mischievous face, and he would slowly creep the wheelchair up with the seltzer bottle, and so the audience is already dying laughing.
Yeah.
And just spray him in the butt.
Yeah. Oh, they did a lot of great farces.
Yeah.
I remember the one where so Nick or Gary had a trumpet. He was playing like kind of a vagabond or something, and this family let him come into the house, but then they wanted to hide him, so they put him in the couch, like it was a fold-out couch.
Yeah.
And the two guys sit on the couch while he's in it, and they're talking to a wife or something, and Nick, blows on the trumpet, so it sounds like they're farting. And Janet Dickinson was the wife, and she broke.
Yeah, she broke. I think I remember that. That's got to be so much fun for them.
Yeah. Oh, and I would be terrible at acting that out because I would break every 2 seconds.
Yeah, that could be tough.
Yeah.
See, I also know that you're more of the slapstick physical sort of stuff because of that last Ted Lasso episode we were watching. Because, see, I die at jokes that are unexpected, or like a lot of the wordplay gets me more so.
Yeah.
Or if it's something that they set up and then they don't get back to until later. So like I like that really intelligent stuff, which I know you like it too, but not as much as the physical thing. Because I can't remember what the scene was specifically.
When the soccer ball hit the window and
and Leslie spills the tea on himself. Yeah, you lost it. We have to pause the episode because you're laughing so much. And I was like, yep, there it is. The Dick Van Dyke, the physical comedy. Did you ever watch a lot of the Three Stooges?
No.
Oh, okay. I wonder if they'd be your sort of, your bag of tea.
Well, it's something I've discovered about myself by watching some Instagram reels is that I get really cracked up by startled.
Oh.
I hate being startled myself. I detest that.
But watching someone else get startled.
Yes. I just laughed so hard at that. That's like when Callie, my cat Callie, she was sniffing around at a plastic bag. And I was like, whatever. She can play with the bag if she wants. And then the next thing I know, the rustling gets a little more panicked. And then she takes off. The handle of the plastic bag had slipped around her neck, and it was like a cape.
There she goes.
She took off to one side of the house and then comes barreling back through.
And she can't escape the cape.
No.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I laugh really hard at that type of thing.
Unfortunately for me, though, too, I also like really dark humor.
Yeah.
And not everyone does. Oh. Did I send you the one of the champagne
Yes, you
ad
did.
thing? Yeah, that's the one that I was telling them down at work about that last night. And just the thought of it still, just because it was unexpected. So yeah, maybe there is kind of that shock thing too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But for me, you can't telegraph a joke. If I know what's going to be the punchline, it's just not as funny. Yeah. It can still be enjoyable, but when that one hit... It's like, oh shit, they went there.
Oh, woo! Yeah.
Real quick backstory, it's a Kurt Cobain suicide joke. I'll leave it at that. You can look for on Instagram.
Oh my.
Oh, laughter's good. Haven't laughed real hard in a while.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I laughed pretty good with Laura last night. I forget.
Yeah.
I forget now what it was
That's
about.
good.
I'll have to ask her maybe. Yeah.
And then, the cool thing about laughter, too, is whenever you see people, especially people that don't laugh or maybe don't always emote that much, I'm still going back to Dave.
Uncle Dave, yeah.
And when you laugh those fits, it is the dumbest thing. Why it hits you as funny in the moment, you have no idea.
Well, and then you laugh harder because it's the dumbest thing.
Yeah. So the backstory for that, because more than the Fox family listens to this, but Aunt Carol... She listens to it faithfully, so she knows this story. When the whole Fox family went down to Florida to Disney World, and we're all sitting around the table playing cards or something, and there's some other people hanging out in the living room. And then Uncle Don, for some reason, was so enamored and so excited. Like it's a kid who finds a rock and is like, hey, let me show you this rock.
Yeah.
He had a crushed soda can, and he just keeps clicking it back and forth just this little bit. And it really did sound like the Tin Man, like the oil can from the Tin Man. Yeah. But he came, and he was so excited about it. When he came around and said to guys, he said, listen, this sounds like the Tin Man. Yeah. And then Uncle Dave just, for some reason, just lost it. And he just starts chuckling. And then it becomes this whole body thing. And then we're all laughing because he's laughing. And every time he tried to talk about why he was laughing so much, it got worse because he's like... you know? Just because he was like making the motion of squeezing the tin can, but he just, you know, is just so absurd. Dawn's thing, and Dawn was kind of like not really realizing why it was so funny, and, but Dave didn't necessarily know why it was so funny, like that level of funny too. And then we're all just laughing because he's dying. That was a good laugh.
That was a good one.
So that's probably my number one.
Yeah.
Do you have a number one favorite laugh time?
I don't know. There are so many.
We'll just name one. We can go through the top 5 once we figure out what they are.
Well, the one I remember most right now is the one with Callie running off.
Oh, okay.
The plastic bag. But I remember when you told a funny story that you told me about Dad was when he poured gasoline down the chipmunk hole. I wasn't actually there for this. It was you telling me the story afterwards. That how far away were you standing from it?
Like 3 feet.
3 feet away. Yeah.
And I felt the ground shake.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Dennis the Menace. Well, I thought you would have went for Grandma Ruth.
Oh.
Whenever we were camping.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Because we're all camping up there. We all go, and we were all in one tent together. We had this really big tent. The Taj Mahal. And so we're laying there, we're all trying to go to sleep, and so conversation's dying down a little bit, and we're sitting there in the darkness, and then what breaks the darkness? Grandma goes,
Gee, it's dark in here.
that was a good impression. Oh my God, that was a good impression. That was her. That was it, and that broke the silence.
Yeah.
And then, because that comment was just so well placed, but also stupid. And they're just like, what? Yeah, it's dark in here, and you know, that's
we all just busted
we all
out.
just lost it. So and the cool thing about those sort of laughters is that those become your own personal catchphrases. Those become your own, you know, whenever you bring something up. Because I mean, for weeks and months afterwards with Dave and Dawn, it was like the does this sound like a oil can?
Yeah.
And then the whole weekend with Grandma, or anytime you see her afterwards, man, it's dark in here, isn't it?
How about the time you bent I almost called it a sparkler, and put it in the drill? Oh. Turned it on.
I did that.
You did that, yes.
I've been known to do some dumb things. Yeah, was that on the, you're talking about Dad's?
No, that was at Grandma's house.
Oh, okay. Well, because I think I also did that on the back porch, or downstairs at Heron.
Oh.
At one point. And I don't remember if that was the same party with Watermelon Helmet, but... Were you there for Watermelon Helmet?
No.
Oh. So I think that might have been a 4th of July, but Jay and Danielle were there. So then we cut a watermelon in half, scooped out the fruit, chopped it up, and used the watermelon as its own bowl, right? Yeah. So we ate through the watermelon, but the bowl was still there. So then Dummy here decides, man, it looks like a helmet. So I put it on my head and started wearing it as a helmet. Then I kind of feel like this was Danielle. So it wasn't just me doing things. But Danielle's like, let's put all the sparklers. Oh. So we stick all these sparklers into the watermelon. So I have this like sparkler watermelon helmet. And then we start lighting all of them. And I'm glowing. But I didn't have a shirt on at that point. So all the sparks are like hitting my chest and back and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I didn't really get burnt. But
yeah.
And then I think at some point stuff kept devolving, because then we started sticking like kebab skewers in there.
Oh,
and
dear.
then I think someone tried to stick a knife, but it actually poked through and kind of popped me on the head a bit. And I was like, whoa, okay, we're done sticking stuff in the watermelon helmet.
Oh my gosh.
But then that became one of those stories of, do you remember Watermelon Helmet? Yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad we got to have some laughing. I think, we're coming towards the end of this.
Yes.
So then this is
your time is up.
My big all question is message of hope.
Message of hope.
You know, what's your current go-to? It can be Ted Lasso, because I know it's a lot of mine currently. But yeah, just something to leave people with.
It's not something so much that I think as words, but the concept kind of is, it's not over till you're dead.
No.
Because, one of the things that kind of also led to my reawakening thing was I watch Food Network, like it's my job. And there was, I think, a 57-year-old woman on Chopped who she retired from one job, and then she decided to go to culinary school and become a chef. And I was like, whoa, hell, if she can do that at that age...
Yeah.
I can start over at my age, and it's not over till it's over.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple and cliche, but...
No, but it's very true.
That's the concept I'm kind of living in right now.
Yeah. It is inspiring to to see some of those people.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's cool then too that you could think about for yourself is, I don't want this to sound like egotistical and things, but to be an inspiration to others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you think life's gotten to a place where it's done. You know, there's nothing else I can do.
Right.
But there are things that maybe you would be interested in. Because with that woman, I'm sure she said maybe that she's always thought about cooking or always wanted to. Or
Could be.
I mean, I don't think you retire from one job to find another shit job.
Right.
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 So you maybe follow a different passion.
Mm-hmm.
But like you being a comedic writer.
Mm-hmm.
You be the next Tina Fey.
Oh, dear.
But kind of finding that new passion, knowing that it's not over, and then going out and doing it then, and being able to inspire other people who are in the similar...
I do actually have another one. This isn't necessarily a inspirational type thing, but it's one that I learned through therapy recently, and that I loved learning it, is that you can have two opposing thoughts exist in harmony in your brain.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
The earth is both flat and round. Yeah.
Not quite that, but...
Not that, yeah.
But like that you can disagree with someone and still love them to pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
More people need to get that, wrap their brain around that one.
Right.
And we can leave it there.
Okay, we'll leave it
The
there.
sound outside has died down, and the thought train has left the station.
Yes, it has. The end, the end.
The end. Oh, that's for another podcast,
Oh,
too.
dear.
Thanks for stopping by today. There's always a seat at the kitchen table and another story to tell. If you have a story to tell, I'd love to hear from you. Please send me a message. And also subscribe to the channel to look for more episodes, anecdotes, and information. Talk to you next time and have a great day.